So just trying to get this camera as I'm in a location that I normally wouldn't be in, so just trying to adjust this camera, get all the crap out of the way. So I hope we're all doing really well today. Today is the 31st of, is it 31st of July today. As I say, I hope we're all doing really well. I'm going to try and change this camera over. That's better. I think that's better. So much crap, so much rubbish in here right now. Oh. I am not prepared. So where are we today? Hope you're all doing really well wherever we are today. Just got to adjust this camera because it is. Is that better? I think that's better. There you go. I think that's a little bit better. Yeah. So I hope you're all doing really well today. Yeah. So those of you who stayed up last night and watched the United game against Bournemouth last night, it was a. We can go through all of that, of course we can. Love you to get into the chat. Let me know what you think about the match, how you thought we played. I can give you my opinion on that, how I think we played. Some interesting comments coming out after the game. Amran on Rasmus, of course. That all seems to be the newest things, and I don't know if that's a whether we're trying to spin a positive on Rasmus Højlund or whether or not we all thought we played well. I have a maybe slightly different opinion on that. And ultimately, are we being spun again? Is this a new club? Is this a new playing staff? This has been said thousands and thousands of times. So I really would like to get your opinions on this morning. How you feel, if you've read anything, what you've read, does that kind of shift your opinion? Does that change your opinion on this? And what you think overall of what we did. Now, start off with the game, or should we start off with SESKO? Let's go with SESKO update, and then we can kind of pivot to the Højlund bit, because I think how we played the last couple of games, I think is linked as well to this. So last night I thought we played well. I don't know how much of that was Bournemouth weren't great, or did we smother them, and that's why they didn't play good, is because we ultimately stopped them from playing and we smothered them. Now what I cannot deny is that we did play well. We pressed extremely well. We pressed as a team. We went forward as a team. We went back as a team. I'm really impressed with all of that. I thought the back four did okay. We definitely played with wing backs, trying to get the ball more into the box. That's what impressed me. Is United and the players like Fernandes, Casemiro, who I didn't think played particularly well. Højlund, not so much doing this, but Storgy was fantastic. But like the Mason Mounts, the Fernandes is kind of passing in and around that box, looking to get those little passes and get it into the box, and that's what really pleased me. We can talk about the goals. Ahmad as well. His goal was perfect. I thought those are the types of goals that they're not 25-yard screamers, but those are the everyday goals that we need to score, right? So those are the ones. I was really pleased to see that type of goal. I thought Delo was good. I thought he was okay down the right hand side. I thought him trying to get crosses into the box. I think defensively he looked okay. I didn't think he was ripping up trees. I don't think it was the most amazing performance I've ever seen, but he did well. Dorgu I thought was brilliant. I thought he was absolutely brilliant. He's very strong. Dorgu is a strong guy. He's looking like a really good, shrewd buy. I'm really glad that we've got him, and I thought he played extremely well. Took his goal well. Little ball over the top from Mount, and he took it well. So I thought he had a brilliant game. He was my man of the match. I generally thought he had a really good game. So I hope he can be consistent with that. Rasmus Højlund, I'll leave him to the last, because then we can link that back to what I think is going to happen or happen in there. 2 number 10s, Mason Mount, Ahmad. I thought Mason Mount was okay. Did some nice stuff. Had a good free kick. So there's a subscriber. She's always on it, and she's great. She comes up with some amazing things. Good morning, Bobby. Hope you're doing all well today, sir. And there was a really good point made, was that Mason Mount is too slow for number 10, and he can't play a number 8 role either. So Mason Mount for me is a backup player. I don't like him in the number 10. I don't think he's particularly fast. He can't run up and down. I like the ball at feet. He reminds me of Juan Mata towards the end. Really good feet. You know, he's got a decent passing range, good feet. He means well, but Mason Mount for me is not a starter. He's decent squad depth, but he does remind me of Juan Mata towards the end of his career, and that's I think where Mason Mount is. I wouldn't want to see him start in the 10, and he's not going to start in the 8. I'd like to see Mason Mount do reasonably well, because then I would sell him already next season. She probably says I'm sick of getting. Yeah, I agree with you. And I don't know, Bobby, if you managed to see anything, if you saw highlights of Mason Mount, but he just wasn't. He did some good stuff. Like he was part of the team, part of the performance, but he by himself, I don't think he stood out. I mean, other than a free kick, I think he struggles in the number 10 role. Ahmad, he didn't play badly. Ahmad played okay. In that number 10 role, I don't think he particularly shone. Physically, he struggles against taller defenders or more physical defenders, purely because of his size. But then when he got the ball, he always does something. I prefer Ahmad as a right winger, maybe not a winger, but if you're going to play that him as a number 10, he needs to be more of a right-sided. I saw him do that free kick shot, and that's about it. Exactly, Bobby. That was it, mate. That is pretty much his game. He did a little ball over the top for Dorgu, but other than that, you know, he did some nice stuff. He did some nice link-up play. When the ball was static in Bournemouth's, like just outside the box, and he's doing those little passes, then he looked fine. But the moment then you have to run back and track back, he just looks tired. For me, I just don't think he looked particularly good. Ahmad, when he gets the ball, he's a good finisher of the ball. He's good with the ball at his feet. He's low to the ground, and he can manipulate and move the ball extremely well. But he needs to get that ball. He needs to drive that plays. He can't play kind of with a defender behind him, close to him, and then spin around. He's not that type. He needs to be running at people. He took his goal really well. He works extremely hard, chases it off the ball. So I don't know with Ahmad where I see him. Again, is he a squad player? I don't know. He'd be the one where I'd go, if you've got your number 10s, we're gonna need a lot of number 10s, because that's the position we're going to be chasing up and down that pitch. So I think as number 10s, if he's happy to do that role, then I'd be happy to put Ahmad in there and give Ahmad a chance in that number 10 role. Again, I think he's a very useful player, very versatile player. I think he played good. Hi from Singapore, man. Hi from UK Essex. Thank you so much for being here, my friend. I do appreciate the chat. I'd love to know if you watched the game. So going back, Fernandez, I was actually quite impressed. Mark Harris in the chat. Here we go. I'm waiting for you, buddy. United gassed up on the United official. I've been waiting to see what's going to come out of that. No talk of 15th last season. Why exactly? And we can come on to that again, Mark. I think again I've been hoping that you'd be on today, because there's a couple of points that I think that you've raised, and we can talk about that as well. Fernandez had a better game. It's probably his most disciplined game. A couple of times we floated out of position. I didn't watch the match. It was a good match to watch, but it's a good and a dangerous match to watch, and I'll give you my opinions on that. I don't want to be the naysayer, but I think we just need to be honest as well. Bruno, it was a better performance, better than the other two performances. He played in that pivot role. I thought he tracked back well. He tackled. I think he looked. It was his best game. I thought he was up there contend with man of the match. But contextually, you have to look at that as pre-season. It's Bournemouth who didn't play particularly well. Are you actually going to get any of our kits? I don't know. Honest answer is probably no, because right now I don't want to put money in the Glazers' pockets. I do have a couple of old kits, but I might go get some retro shirts, to be fair. Yeah, I might be tempted with the black kit, but then I'm going against what I believe is right. I'm paying 110 or 80 pounds for a football top. I'm not on board with that, and I'm not on board putting money into Ineos's and the Glazers' pocket. So we'll potentially see on that one. I actually decided to get a home kit with Xerxes' name on it. That's a bold move. But Xerxes, I do like the player. And I'm glad he's got some supporters and fans out there. So that's really nice to hear. And you decided to get the away kit with. Okay, I'm liking your choices. I am liking your choices there. So that's some good stuff. I might get a kit, but 80 quid's a bit steep. Højlund running through walls now. We'll come to. I promise you. And I've saved Højlund for the very end as well, because that will link up to what the point really is. Casemiro, I thought was awful. I didn't like his pass. He does some good stuff, but his little flicks around corners, little balls over the top, his little things that he does, they're not just Casemiro of old season. It's not getting the ball down. It's not being precise. He's not progressing the team. I just didn't like the performance from him, so I don't think he has anything to the team. When Agate came on, he looked so much better in that position and drives with the ball, because Casemiro can't. And then you've got Dorgu, was fantastic, as we've spoken about the wing backs. Yoro again was good, kept coming forward. I like that. Maguire, Shaw, world class. Luke Shaw he did a couple of good bits and pieces. Again, he did look comfortable. It was a much better display, but I'm not fooled by that. Heaton made some great. He made a great save. So as a performance, you're going to be. It was a good performance as a team, much better. Now this is where I'm going to come back to the first point. I think as Mark has alluded to there in the chat is. It was a better performance. So I was disappointed that I will prefix this with, I think it's disgusting that we pretty much played the same team that finished 15th last season. No one's talking about this. No one's talking about, just because we won 4-1. Maybe we caught a Bournemouth cold, but nobody's talking about this. No one's mentioning that we haven't got any new signings, and hence the title. Is this, are we going to be spun a new team? This is a new team. It's not a new team. We had no new players, and no one's talking about this at all. No new players on the pitch. Cunha's fatigued. So in Burmo, the guy that we were chasing for 7 weeks isn't even fit yet. Xerxes not playing. So these are things that are not being asked. Just because we won 4-1, that's now been swept under the carpet. Now, I've kept Højlund to the last because there's so many conflicting reports now. Now Højlund, apparently he played well the last 2 games. He's been tearing up trees. He's been playing extremely well. We know he looks good. I'm of the opinion that I don't see it. I think he's played better. I think he looks good. I think he's flattered to deceive. I think he's making good runs. I think he's working very hard. But the things I don't see are when he gets in the box. We're trying to get balls into the box, but then yesterday he wasn't in the box. Okay, he scored his goal. That was a header. That's great. He works hard. but he's almost playing like a Harry Kane role where he comes back deep, and maybe he's been told to that's the job that he needs to do. But there's nobody running in behind. And then when they do get the ball and he's making his runs, he's still not making the right run. You know, the defenders, he's playing on the last man. He's still not spinning off the defenders. He tries to spin off and falls over. The runs that he's making, I don't think are still quite right. He's doing well, but he's not battering people. He's not scaring back forwards. I mean, he didn't outrun anybody yesterday. So even though Bournemouth looked leggy, looked tired, it wasn't as though he was terrorising them. You know, they had his number. There were times where the way that he had to move was he had to flick a ball around a corner and then try and spin him behind. Yeah, I don't think he did that enough, despite some of the possession that we had and some of the things that we did. Now, is this so? Amarin did come out after the game and said, you know, he doesn't know where we're going to be. He doesn't necessarily know in certain terms if Højlund's going to be here. Højlund's still not his guy, and United and the fan base, we've got to support this kid, and we still have to make out like, I know he's doing really well, because Leipzig, apparently he's their dream signing. I mean, obviously I don't know what sort of dreams that they have, but him playing well, and he has played better, it can only be a good thing. If we're trying to sell him, it can only be a good thing. Now, Rasmus, I wouldn't be adverse to keeping him. I think there is a player there, but all this talk of tearing up trees, etc., and him playing this, you're going to listen to the United side, and I've not checked yet, might even make out like he's like the man of the match or whatever else. In my opinion, he wasn't. He did well. Like, I can't deny he played well. He works hard. He's a good lad, but he's not it. So if you didn't watch the game, didn't watch West Ham or Leeds, you are going to be spun a yard that he's tearing up trees. Now, compared to what he did last season, his performances are better, but the standards were so low last season that anything is better. Any uplift in performance is better. So we just need, as a fan base, again, to be aware. So it was a good win. It was a good win, and it's not that I'm not happy about it. I just my observation right now is that, are we going to be yet now spun another yarn that if we get SESKO, it looks like that's happening, and there's a price set there. Is that it? Because we do need a keeper, but in my opinion, the depth is still not there. It is still not there. Now, a couple of times where Bournemouth did score a goal at the end, and Bournemouth scored a goal, but it was just offside. And these are against teams that are not at the races yet. So if we catch a hot Arsenal, a City, you know, we're going to walk into the season on the back of these results, and it's good that we get confidence up, like we are going to win the league. And that's what the rhetoric and some of the stuff I've already seen is alluding to. Can we win the league? Can we finish fourth? And we need to be careful how much we're spun here. Okay, there were good wins, but I'm going to be consistent. As with a win and a loss, it's pre-season. Now, I'm not going to use that to manipulate my opinion on this. I'm not going to use a pre-season to say, oh, you know, we were terrible, but not reference the fact that it was a pre-season, and then not going to say, oh, we were amazing, and still not do the same way. So it's still early days, but what for people in the chat, like Mark Harris, who are legends of the chat, one of the things I wanted to see, and one of the things that we're talking about, is formations and style of play, and actually does he have a way of playing. And one of the things I wanted to see was, if he didn't use his new players, which is there's only 2 and he hasn't got any, what's Amarin done with these players, this set of players, and as a coach, what can he do? And I will be fair and say this, that Amarin has started to definitely embed what it is he's trying to do. Whether these players can be consistent enough to do it, whether intelligent enough to do it or not, there is there is signs and shoots of Amarin is coaching these players. He's definitely coached them. They definitely look better. They're doing, you can see the shapes that they're trying to get into. You can see that there is a way of playing that they've got. When they lose the ball, get back into their positions. When they attack in certain positions. There's certain phases of when they're attacking. You can see that they're trying to implement that, and they've clearly bought into that, and certain players have. But the problem is still the personnel, and that's where this lies now. Is are we just going to go out and we're going to go and get personnel to fit the system, or are we just going to, for example, like Mason Mount, are we just going to use players like that because we have to? Because ultimately, we're not in a position to do what Liverpool has done, City has done, and go and get those players that we actually need. Just have a little look back through the chat. Amon's getting ages to Jar. We are playing the same players as it's not the same team. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Go back through the chat. DHgate, £10 a shirt. DHgate, £10 a shirt. There's actually a website that you can get your retro shirts from. But it's not the most reliable of websites. Rasmus has been impressive for 2 games now. If he plays like this against Everton, I do not want him gone anymore. Joel, I respect that opinion completely. It's nice when 2 people have a slightly different opinion. I think that Rasmus was better. Has Rasmus impressed me? No. I've got to be honest, and I'm not going to jump on the bandwagon of him. Has he impressed me? No. Has he been much improved? Yes. Do I think he still do I think he needs to improve as a striker? Yes. He is still young, and that's the thing with him, is he's not about. And I'll be consistent in this. If he needs to either go somewhere where he can be less pressure and be the main man and learn his craft and his trade, or we get somebody who's experienced in and he learns from that, because he does have something. He does have pace. It's just, for me, it's his movement, for me, that I don't think he's quite there, but he works it very, very hard. So there is something there. I don't think he's been impressive. He's been better, much better, but I don't think he's impressed me. But again, that's my opinion, and I can see why people are starting to run away with it a bit, because I think his performances were so bad last season that I think any upturn, I think, just makes, by comparison, makes it look better. We are playing the same players, but it's not the same team. Yeah, Joel, it's definitely it's the same players. I agree, but how many times have I seen this before? How many times have we seen this before? Pre-season Perlos, pre-season, they flatter to deceive, the pressure's off. There's no real points at stake. There's nothing really at stake here. But I can't deny they look better. I can't be a hypocrite and say I was looking for a performance, looking for a different way of playing, and that's what they did. I was actually watching back. I was actually quite stunned by how well they played. So if they can maintain that, what I need to see is, if the first couple of games of the season, if that's how we consistently play, and we're going to have games where we're not going to be good, and we're going to have games where we are brilliant, and we're going to have games where it's not going to be so good, but that happens. But if we still play like this, like I asked, and we have done, I will be happier with these players. But how many times have these players let us down before? So that's all I'm saying is yes, but I'm not going to be so naive again and get on board with these players just yet, because they need to do it week in, week out. I'm waiting to see how consistent that they're going to be. Jar, we're playing. Amon, is it taking age for me to get a new wake? It is. A new United, a new wrapper past its sell by date. Mark, you're going to be seen there. I think you're going to be. I think we're going to see that very, very quick. I think I asked for certain things and they delivered that last night. So I can't be a hypocrite and say that I'm not impressed. But if, let's say, I asked for Amrin to show his tactics and he's got no excuses, and if he can get those players, playing like that consistently, then I'll be happy that I'm then justified. Not that I need to be, but in supporting the coach, I need the validation to I'm backing the coach. And if you can validate that by making these players play well, then I'm much happier. Bournemouth have struggled a long time against them. We dominated them last night in a way I've not seen before. Ruben has worked. Joel, again, positivity. I like it. I don't disagree with that. I want to see it consistently. If we see it if we see it again, so we start to do it at West Ham, let's see it again if we can do it against Everton, who beat West Ham. So I think, or was it West Ham beat Everton? Yeah. If we see that, Amrin has done something, but it's not Amrin for me. That's the problem. It's these players. Let's see when the heat is on, if they can still play that way. I think Amrin, you can definitely see Amrin in that team last night. That's how he wants to play. That's him. The players are limited, but he has worked his magic. That's what I always thought that he could do. That's what I've been asking him to do, and he's done that. Let's see how consistent. It's easy to do that when the pressure's off. Let's see how well we can do that. And if we can do that consistently for the first 4, 5, 6 games, then I'll be extremely pleased. Mason Mount, Luke Shaw smiling on the plane, getting the cash. Hey boys. Do you know what? At least they're fit. They're playing. So that's number one, is they are picking, they have got the cash, but do you know what? At least they're earning it for once. So at least they are actually earning their cash. Mason Mount, I thought he was okay. I didn't think he was particularly good. He did some good stuff, but for me, he's a squad player. Luke Shaw was all right. World class Luke Shaw was looked dependable last night. He looked sharper. He looked better. I'm not going to start saying that he was an amazing player. He did a tackle. Did one. I thought he looked good. I thought he looked accomplished, as I would expect of a senior player. You know, Maguire did as well. Maguire looked fine. Maguire looked, because he looked strong. He looked fine. You know, Luke Shaw did the same thing, and the fact he went down, I was a bit concerned, but he got back up again. So the fact he's played three games, and he's not injured. That does look better for me. 10-2, how are you, sir? Man United were very good as a team. Dorgy was fantastic. By the way, I don't know your name, sir. My name is Jono. So it's JB, but yeah, that's how I go by. I agree with you. Dorgy was fantastic, and we were very, very good. Yeah, Kane wasn't used. I don't know. I want to see him. I want to see Kone play, but there's clearly a reason behind it. He was touted as the next big thing, but you know, he's not playing. So I think he's going to go on loan. He's not playing, so I think he's going to go on loan. Why is Luke Shaw playing? Because we need depth in that position, I guess. And Luke Shaw, and don't forget with Luke Shaw, the number one important thing is his World Cup year. So Luke Shaw always tends to get always improves and gets better for World Cup year. So let's not forget that he's probably done everything he can to get fit for the World Cup. Is it possible that we need SESKO to unlock Rasmus, says Hesty? SESKO's young himself. I don't think SESKO won't unlock Rasmus in terms of showing him what to do or showing him experience. But where SESKO could unlock Rasmus is competition. Two young guns, two young bucks fighting it out for that number 9 position. That is what you need. But I don't know if we're going to keep Rasmus and SESKO together. That's the thing. So if we did, then I think we show a little bit of ambition, and you almost get those two young guns fighting for that position. But I don't know if we're going to do that. So I think it's not both. I think it's one or the other. If it was a seasoned striker, then I think Rasmus stays to learn from him. But I don't think that's where we're going to go. 10-2, I was delighted with the game yesterday. Is there anything new about SESKO? SESKO, basically the price is 70 million, as we all thought anyway, as we said yesterday. 70 million for SESKO, possibly Højlund going in the other way, so possibly cash plus Højlund. I think Højlund's display yesterday maybe shifted some views, but let's not forget this: is that one game, there's a saying, is one swallow doesn't make a summer, and we are talking about the swallow as in the avian kind, the birds. So yeah, 2 games doesn't mean he's going to have a really good season. So if right now SESKO, if we would you be okay swapping a SESKO for Højlund plus cash, and then it may mean that we end up getting that centre midfield and that keeper that we need as well. Let's have a look. What else have we got? I think the midfield is going to sign. I hope so, my friend. Hit the like button and chat. Thank you, Tulip Plays, you kept me company last night. Legend of the chat and one of our moderators. Lovely to have you here this morning. Hesty, I'm in conflict about offloading Rasmus because the injury is still possible. Exactly. It is still possible, but the problem is with that for me is that's why you get a second striker. Is Rasmus a second striker? He's not a second striker money. The money he gets paid, he needs to be, I think, a number 1. But we don't play with 2 strikers. So I'm not torn, and the reason why I'm not torn is because as a business and as a club, you need to make a decision. Okay? In my opinion, the reason why we get where we are is because we go, oh, we're not sure. We should keep this player. Maybe he should stay. No, I've made my decision in my head, and my head says Rasmus needs to go. Good luck to him. Yes, he's played a couple of decent games, but in my opinion, he's gone already, and I want to move on from him. Maybe he'll go elsewhere and be a world-class striker, but he wasn't for us. I like the lad, but we need people who make decisions, and Rasmus for me needs to go. I think he should go, and I'd make him part of the SESKO deal. We've got one game. So Giles says we've got 1 game a week. They will do this week in and week out. We get more training, resting 6 to 8 positions, 4 to 8 positions. Joel, I'm liking the positivity, my friend. This is what we need. I try to be the voice of reason. Maybe sometimes I'm the voice, maybe a bit too pessimistic, just purely because of past. But I like the positivity in there as well. I can't deny, week in, week out, but week in, week out with pressure. Week in, week out against bigger and better squads. Week in, week out against, they'll be playing more games than us. So can you argue? Yes, they'll be more tired than us, but you can also argue that they're going to be in sort of playing mode. And is our squad good enough? Liverpool got some heavy. Liverpool, City, Arsenal got a big heavy squad full of good players. Can we match that week in, week out? So you can look at it 2 ways, I think, and I think that I'd like to think with this set of players that playing week in, week out, just in the Premier League, we can compete. those lofty heights of 6 to 8. I think we should be aiming for 8. Sorry, we get SESKO, and I think we should be hitting that 8. I really like what I see last night. I as much as you may not think it, I do have a smile on my face because I really like what I saw last night. I'm really impressed with everybody, but I don't. It's almost like cheating X, right? You've been cheated on so many times. They fooled you so many times, and that one time where they're just like, yeah, we're never going to do it again. We want you back, and we're never going to do it again. And this time could be the perfect time. This could be marriage. This could be the time where everything's right, and then we fooled again. That's just where I don't want to be fooled again. But they still need one more chance. And if after this season, if they capitulate, then that's it. Then that's it for me. But I think you're right. I think we do need to give them, particularly with these youth players, with the new players come in. Let's see where this goes. I'd like to see Kone given time in the team. Mark Harris, agree, my friend. It's a shame that we haven't seen him yet, and I do want to see him. I really, really do. So I agree with you on that. Amon, do you think that our third kit will get released soon? Yes. It'll be. I think it's released in the next week or two. Bearing in mind we've got a Premier League game, and they're going to want to sell kits for that. Maybe you see SESKO in it. I mean, imagine that SESKO comes in, third kit, they'd sell bucket loads of that. So I think you'll get your I think you'll get that very, very soon. United have played very well. I bet it's pre-season to think SESKO and Mbeumo will be added to this. Yeah, agreed with you. So Chip plays there. I agree with you. If this is how we play, and we've got more players to come in, maybe a goalkeeper on the back of that and a centre midfielder, Amorim, this is where we're going to see Amorim. This is where we're going to see why he's touted as one of the best coaches. And I've been hoping for this. My defence of him has been, there's still red flags for me, but my defence of Amorim has always been he needs time. He needs his own plays. He needs a pre-season. That's why I can't get on board with Amorim out just yet. But we're going to see it. The things I've been asking for, the things I've been saying, and I'll remain consistent on this, is that I wanted to see tactics. I wanted to see change of players. I wanted to see his impact on these players. And that's what he's having so far. So far, so good. And I wanted to, and as I said, I think before the game started, I want to see us building up into pre-season. And then by the Fiorentina game, we'll definitely know more. And we're knowing more, I think, ahead of schedule. So I think things are looking very, very good. Very excited to see Mbeumo on Sunday. Let's hope. Let's hope. I want to see him as well. Let's hope. I'm looking forward to that, and let's see what he can do. And can he slot into this? This is what I want to see as well: is 2 players for every position. Can the replacement come in and do a job? And you're right on that. I'm looking forward to seeing Mbeumo as well. Chip play. I'm okay with Rasmus as the backup. Yeah, issue is past couple of seasons he was our only true striker and was starting. Exactly that. I mean, I think Rasmus had a raw deal. I think Rasmus got it bad. 20 years old, asking to lead the line in this team that traditionally hasn't created chances in the box. 20 years old. No wonder he had a bad season. I'm not holding him accountable as such. He's still young. I think he came into this team and he was asked to do too much at 20 years old. And I like him. I genuinely hope he stays and he does well, and he can battle SESKO, battle whoever else, or even go on to have a really good career. I like him. His attitude's fantastic. He works hard. But right now, if you're asking me what I think, I'd love him to stay and battle, but there's too much investment in money, and whilst United can't afford to have another bad season, because that just drops the value again, and you almost have to think about how they think. So if they can offload him to Leipzig for a good price, then I think that is what they'll do. But I'm in agreement. I think he needs time here, and I'd love to see him do it here. Tulip play. Ideally, we sell him back to RB plus 30 for SESKO if he stays as backup. Not the end of the world. Exactly. I'd be happy to have Rasmus here. I'm okay with it. His displays have been so much better. Being part of this team as well, I think he'll be more accustomed now to what is expected of him. As a backup, I'm happy. Backup striker, get him in. He's still young, still got time to grow, and I'll be happy to have him here. But I think you're right. I think that he'll be part of that deal for SESKO, which is a shame. But I think we'll get 30 to 40 for him, which I think would be a good deal after the back of last season. Rasmus can be a good backup. First 60 minutes high pressing with SESKO, 30 minutes. Exactly that, right? Imagine having two strikers who can press really high. You don't give the opposition time off. A load of the mistakes last night from Bournemouth were all based upon the press, and they were forced into errors. So imagine having two strikers that can do that. That would be, for me, United shifting, saying, look, this is what we need. Oh God, live streaming. Who's at the door now? It's only a parcel. And of course the dog's going mental as well. Honestly, Amazon. What else we got? Do you actually think Xerxes is good or not? I like Xerxes. I really like Xerxes. Xerxes, for me, I think he got a raw deal. I think as a fan base, we were so starved of players. Xerxes, for me, was a victim of Ten Hag being sacked, us sick and tired of losing games. New players come in, not hitting the ground. They didn't have a pre-season. Not their fault. And I think Xerxes was at the tail end of all that, which I don't think was very fair. And I never wanted him to go. Xerxes come to a point where he was going to leave, but he didn't, and he wanted to stay and fight for his place. Now, what does that tell you about the character of the player? And then he was one of our better players towards the back end of the season. So I really want Xerxes to stay. I think there's a great player there. It'd be a shame if he left. I can see why he would leave and why the club maybe would get rid of him. But I like him and I want him to stay. And I hope he's going to be one of the stars of this season. Højlund just said in an interview with the United stand that he wants to stay. Yeah, I mean, I've got to give them credit. So the United stand are doing some really good stuff actually, with the interviews of players. I mean, I'd love to be out there, but no, they do some good stuff. So if you get a chance to watch those interviews with the players, then do, because I think that's you almost catch them on the hop, right? So you are going to get that honesty. So I think Højlund desperately wants to stay. So I think nothing is off the table with that one. SESKO should be Man United player next week. Tensu, I think so. I think he'll be a player within the next month, because that's when the window shuts. So we know he's not going to go as long as Mbermo, because he can't do. So, and we need a striker. And so I believe maybe not next week, but it's going to be very, very soon. Xerxes is a talented player. He should be in number 10, not a number 9. Agreed. I think he's a number 10, but we are stacked with number 10s. I don't whether I almost think that he may be be a backup striker. I don't like him there, but with the amount of number 10s and the forward players that we got, I want to see what Amarin does with those players, because it's just going to show his coaching ability, if obviously you think he's got any or not. Chip says you'll be out there next season as this channel grows, mate. I honestly, I would to do this for you guys. Doing it out there would be a dream, and obviously, if the channel grows, you know, I let's see, it would be a dream of mine. So, you know, I love the encouragement, and I honestly generally cannot thank you enough. And you know, as this channel grows, I'd love to do more stuff as interactive as we possibly can. I'd love to do something different compared to everyone else, and kind of really make it interactive and your show even live. So I do have some things in mind, but of course, you know, I need the fan base and the subscribers. So on that, you know, if you are watching, give us a like, favorite, subscribe. You know, yeah, if you can pass this out to as many people as you can, get this community. That's the one thing I will always say, and I will maintain this until you're bored of me, is that this chat is the best. This community, the people in this community, the different views and opinions that we have in here. What I really like about it is that we may agree on some things, we may not agree, but we all want the same thing, and we're all heading towards the same goal. And I love the differences in, we may agree on 90% of the stuff, 50% of the stuff, but there's always logic behind it, and there's always a good spirit, and I have to say a really good intellectual at times chat around it, because guess what, us fans know more than the club. Do you think we'll get anyone else? Yes, I do. Luis, for me, from Juventus in the midfield, I think that's possibly where we'll go on loan. I can't see us buying a centre midfielder. I demand one, but I don't think we will. I also demand a goalkeeper. I think we will get a keeper. I think that's imperative. I don't think we've got a choice in that one. So I can see 2 more players after this, but we need to hurry. And again, if anything does change on that, then obviously I will send you an update, and we can then talk about that. Do you stream it every day? I try to. I sometimes I do stream. Well, it depends really. Yesterday I think I did 4 times. I was out in the car. In the car, got home off a 4-hour drive, stream. So whenever I see things happening, I think it's of a value, I will stop wherever I am, whenever I can. It's been a bit more difficult this week or these next few weeks because I'm on holiday in a week and a bit. I'll try and stream from there, so that'll be quite cool. I've got the kids and whatever else, so I stream when I can, but I do tend to stream sort of at least twice a day, where I can. There's no set time yet, because obviously once the channel is a bit more established, I can kind of commit that time out and block it out. But right now it's a kind of roughly kind of mid-morning, maybe an afternoon, and maybe an evening one as well. And if anything breaks in between, hence that's why I'm on my phone right now. I'm not in the studio with the camera, the actual camera. Yo, JB, we're back. Yes, we are, Chief Herb. We are back. Do you get other Man Utd fans on your channel? Yeah, I do. I think mostly everyone here is. I do get the odd Liverpool fan on. Liverpool fans, do you know what? Do you get any other fans of Newcastle City, etc.? I haven't had any City fans, I don't think yet, but Liverpool fans quite a bit. I like them actually. They've been very Liverpool fans actually. Do you know what? The banter's there, but those are some of the best chats actually. Like I had a Liverpool fan on yesterday, and really nice. And I'm assuming a guy. But yeah, Liverpool fans are great. I mean, other fans, I've had some Arsenal fans in here as well, and I have to say, all really respectful. I like the banter. great. Yeah. Tensu, legend of the chat. I think Casemiro loses his engine because of his age. He's 33 old. He'll be benched. Yeah. He does need to be replaced. His mind's still sharp, but his body's not there. And he does these silly little flicks that I'm not the greatest fan of. Um, yeah. So I agree with you. We are back, Chifa. We are back, my friend. Aren't Newcastle fans and City fans fake? Um, I don't think fake is the word to use. You can't help who you support. I mean, some follow players, if you like. I think it's more so. I think player FC. I think a lot of fans. I don't think it's fair to call them fake because at the end of the day, if you like football and you support a club, you support a club. Um, I wouldn't call them fake. It's just that people support football now. People consume football and support football in a different way. So when I was a kid, traditionally, you support a team and you're very passionate about that team. And it wasn't a glamorous sport then. The stadiums weren't particularly great. The pitches were awful. You support the club because it was your dad's club or your mum's club or whatever else, and it wasn't a glamorous game. Now people support football in different ways. They like fashion around football. They like players' fashion. They like players. They just like certain players. So they don't follow a club. They follow the players around a club, and then they'll support that club based on the player. It could be because their Instagram is good. They might play computer games. They might just do something that people like. So football is, I think, it's now consumed in a in a different way. And I think the more people get into the sport, you look at the women's game, for example. The more people interested in football, in the women's game, in the men's game, I think can only be for the betterment of the sport. Obviously, there are toxic people out there, but I think they'd be toxic whether they like football or not. Maybe we can still put Casemiro in the FA Cup or Carabao Cup. That's what I do, Hesty. That's exactly what I'd do. I'd have Casemiro as a squad player. Bring him on if you're trying to see a game. He can still offer something, but if it's a tight game or a really important game, he's not a starter for me. But yeah, like the Carabao Cup games, Championship games, as a squad player, I think he's definitely there. Rob says, "Hi JB, hello Rob. I hope you're doing well." And all in the chat. Good result for the Reds last night. This morning, yeah, I agree. I thought we were good. It's one. I've seen this play quite a few times. That's the best I've seen this play in a long time. Good result. Not taking anything away from the result. So let's see if we can keep this up, continue that, and push it on into the season. Alan says, "I know people who switch clubs, man." Yeah, I've got siblings who switched clubs. So he was a Liverpool fan, then he was a Newcastle fan, then he was, I don't know, but yeah, I know people who switch allegiances all of the time. But again, it's a personal choice, right? Do you think we'll beat Arsenal, Liverpool, City, Newcastle, or so I predicted before the West Ham game, because I could only go by that we'd get 8 from 8. That's and I thought that we'd lose to Liverpool. Now I'm not going to get carried away. I can't get carried away with this. I can see us. I don't think we're. I don't think we're gonna. I don't think we're gonna get a hiding. And you can quote me on this. I can see Arsenal's got a draw written all over that, and then we've got games like Fulham. I can't remember who else is in between. So we've got some difficult games. I'd like to think we can pick up 3 points against those. I don't want to say lesser teams because that's not fair, right? I'd like to think we can pick up a good couple of points from those outside of the top 4 games. I think we can. I think we can draw. I think we draw against Arsenal. I think Liverpool is towards the tail end of those 8 games. City, right now, if we play like this, we are capable. Chelsea are very inconsistent, so I think it really does depend on the Chelsea that turns out. So if we're looking, so Arsenal, Liverpool, City, Newcastle, Chelsea. So if that's 5, is that 15 points? If we get 8 to 10 from those games, then we've got a chance. So I don't think we're going to beat them all. I think we'll lose a chunk of those. But if we could get out of those 15, if we could get 3 wins, a draw, or even get as close to half points, then I think we're there or thereabouts. So, and as long as we don't get absolutely hammered in any of those games, then I think we're going to have a decent season. Are you going to watch Arsenal game versus ASN game against? Probably not. No, Hesty. Probably not, my friend. No. I'm probably going to struggle actually because I'm away to watch the Arsenal game actually. I really want to watch the Arsenal game live, but I'll watch the Arsenal game. I'm going to struggle, I think, to stream that one. So I'll stream the next. I'll do a watch along for the next game against Everton and then Fiorentina, and then obviously I will get into a pattern of it, but then we'll see. But guys, yeah, that's where we are. If anything else does break today, you might see me in different rooms in the house or different vehicles today. But yeah, that's where we are. I thought it was a great game last night. I thought that we played extremely well. It's good indication as we're going to go into the season. Højlund, I think, is the main topic of conversation today. Will we keep him or will we kind of try and do a deal for SESKO? SESKO's price is 70 mil. We are a forerunner for that. It's our deal to do, our deal to walk away from. Newcastle was still there or thereabouts, but it's our deal to do. So we'll see what develops on that, see what develops again with Sancho, the Garnachos, Anthony throughout the rest of the day. If anything breaks, obviously I will jump back on again and let you guys know. So have a good rest of your day. Again, I'm going to say this always. Thank you so much for being in the chat. It genuinely means so much to me. As Chief Herb say, let's have a little look before we go. Rob says, I remember back in the 90s, we played Arsenal first game. We won 4-1. Neil Webb, goal of the season. Rob, I was thinking about that. Yes, I remember that game, and I remember Neil Webb scoring that banger. God, you're as old as me then, right? Yes, no, agreed. I remember that absolute banger that he scored. That's amazing. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I remember the same thing as well. I love Neil Webb. Yeah, fantastic game, fantastic goal. So thank you for that. What else we got? Chief Herb, I miss plays that plays for the badge. Mentality is important, and exactly. We are looking to move those prima donna TikTok Sancho types, Lingard's out, moving those plays out, and it's starting to show. We should walk away from it. We need a midfielder, baby. Chief Herb says. Ooh, I think we should get both, mate. I think we should do both. Let's see what happens. Apparently, we don't need to sell to buy. So let's see what happens. And let's see if we can get this over the line. So thank you everyone for being in the chat. And I mean legends of the chat. Rob, Hesty, Armin, Chief Herb. Who have we got in there? Tulip Plays as always. Legend Tensu. Bobby's it. Giles in there as well. Mark Harris, of course, an absolute legend of the chat as well. I hope you haven't missed anyone out. Yeah, thank you guys so much for being here. It generally means the world to me and the channel. And of course, if anything does break, my X and whatever else and Outlook is in there. Feel free to send me stuff. Feel free to let me know. If anything breaks, then I'll jump on and we can talk about it as we always do. So have a good rest of your morning, day, afternoon, and I'll see you very soon. And thank you for watching. See you soon.